Ever feel like you're just drowning in choices? Like, just to pick out cereal or a pair of jeans, you need like a PhD.
Yeah,
You're not alone.
absolutely.
That's what we're going to deep dive into today, the downsides of too many choices.
Right.
More might actually be less, right?
Yeah.
And our guide for this deep dive is Barry Schwartz's book, The Paradox of Choice, Why More is Less.
Yeah. It's a fascinating paradox, isn't it? We think more choice equals more freedom, right?
Right.
But as Schwartz really points out, that's not always the case. This whole explosion of choices is pretty new, right? Like it's just the last few decades, really.
Yeah, well, he starts the book out with this story about how he spent like a whole day just trying to buy jeans.
Oh, yeah.
And he's going through the racks and the styles and the washes and the fits, and he ends up just feeling frustrated, not like he's got all this freedom to choose.
All right.
And I can relate to that. 85 kinds of crackers? Like, come on.
Yeah, it's too much, isn't it?
20 catalogs a week.
Uh,
I don't need this stuff. It's exhausting.
Absolutely. And it's not just like consumer goods. This choice overload is everywhere, like healthcare, right? It used to be so simple. The doctor decided, and the patient just followed their advice, right? But now patients are expected to be informed consumers going through all this complex medical information and making choices about their treatments.
Yeah.
Empowering
Yeah.
in theory, but it can be overwhelming.
It's like everyone needs a medical degree to buy pain relievers now. So it's no wonder we're all feeling like decision fatigue.
Absolutely.
But I'm curious about this, the connection between choice and freedom.
Yeah.
Like, if we're bogged down by all these decisions, are we really any freer?
That's the issue, right? All this volume of choices can actually impair our freedom, right? It just consumes our time, our energy, our mental bandwidth, and we end up with less freedom to focus on the things that really matter.
So you're saying having more stuff doesn't equal a better life?
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
quality over quantity, intentionality over impulsivity. And this is where that jam experiment comes in that Schwartz describes in the book. Really challenges our assumptions about choice and satisfaction.
I'm all ears. Tell me about the jam experiment.
So researchers set up a gourmet jam tasting at a supermarket.
Right.
2 different scenarios, one with 24 jams and one with just 6. Here's the thing. Shoppers were more likely to buy jam when there were fewer options.
Wait, seriously? They were more likely to buy when there were fewer choices,
I know, right?
even though they could have chosen from all 24 if they wanted to.
It's crazy, right?
That's wild. Why? Why would that be?
That is the question. There's a few theories. One is decision fatigue, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we're just overloaded with choices, our brains just get tired of weighing all the options and
right.
we walk away.
It's like trying to pick something to watch on Netflix. You scroll for an hour and just watch something you've already seen a million times.
Exactly. Paralysis of analysis.
Right.
Another thing is called diminished enjoyment. When we have to consider so many options, we focus more on the downsides of what we do choose, right?
Right.
We worry about making the wrong decision and missing out on something better. So that leads to buyer's remorse.
Yeah.
That feeling that we could have done better, even if we made a perfectly reasonable choice.
So all this choice is making us less happy.
Yeah, kind of ironic, isn't it?
That's a paradox.
This is where maximizers versus satisficers comes in,
Okay.
right? Schwartz says that the way we approach decisions really impacts how we experience choice.
Mm-hmm.
So maximizers, they always want the best. They spend hours researching every possible option.
Oh, yeah. I know a few people like that.
Right,
I can't even pick a restaurant without checking 3 different review sites.
right. But they often end up less satisfied than satisficers.
Okay.
Satisficers are cool with finding an option that meets their needs.
Yeah.
They're not obsessed with the best of everything, so they decide faster and with less stress.
This makes me think about, like, my own decisions. I always think I'm being thorough, weighing all the options, but maybe I'm overthinking things.
Maybe.
Like, do I need to spend an hour comparing toothpaste?
Right. And that gets to what Schwartz is saying, right? We don't have to maximize every decision.
Yeah.
Just embrace a good enough mindset, and we can free up so much mental energy to focus on what matters.
So the key to happiness isn't more choices, but choosing more wisely. Like, when to be a maximizer and when to be a satisficer.
Exactly. Be intentional with our choices and realize that sometimes good enough really is good enough. And you know what's interesting? This good enough idea ties into regret.
Ooh, regret. Now we're talking. So we know having tons of choices doesn't equal happiness. But how does this regret thing actually work? Like, how does it affect what we decide?
Okay, so imagine you made a choice. Let's say you switch stocks and it totally tanked.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to feel regret, right?
Big time.
But here's the thing. We actually feel more regret over things we did, like that stock switch, than over stuff we didn't do.
Hold on. So you're saying we regret doing something that went bad more than not doing it, even if not doing it would have been better.
It's kind of counterintuitive, right?
Yeah.
But it's all about how our brains work. We're wired to avoid pain and regret. That's like serious psychological pain. So we often just don't do anything to avoid that pain, even if it means we miss out on something good.
Like, better safe than sorry.
Exactly. So think about those uncomfortable shoes you were talking about.
Oh, the ones I paid way too much for.
Yeah, you keep them because you spent a ton, even though they kill your feet. That's the sunk cost fallacy.
Ouch. Yeah, been there.
We cling to a bad choice because we can't admit we messed up.
Makes me think about that hedonic treadmill thing.
Ah, yes. That sneaky feeling that we're always chasing the next best thing but never actually happy.
Like running in place.
Exactly, running and running but getting nowhere.
So what's the science behind this treadmill?
It's about how our brains handle pleasure and reward.
Okay.
When something good happens, like a new gadget, a promotion, a great meal, our brain releases dopamine, and that makes us feel good.
All right.
But we get used to these good feelings super fast.
Okay.
The thrill is gone, and we need a bigger dopamine hit to feel satisfied.
So we're chasing a high that's harder and harder to reach.
Exactly. And it leaves us empty. It's like that treadmill, lots of effort, no real progress.
That's a bummer. Can we get off this treadmill at all?
For sure. The key is realizing lasting happiness isn't about chasing external rewards. It's about feeling content with what we already have. And that's where gratitude comes in.
I've heard about that, the whole gratitude thing.
Yeah.
But how does it actually help us stop wanting more?
When we practice gratitude, we stop focusing on what we're missing and start appreciating what we have.
Yeah.
You know, our health, our relationships, the small joys in life.
Okay.
And that shift changes everything.
So we're training our brains to enjoy the moment instead of always wanting more.
Exactly. Gratitude helps us get off the treadmill because we find joy now, not in some future what if.
You know, it's funny. I think about all those times I bought something new thinking it'd make me happy. The excitement always faded so fast.
Yeah.
Maybe if I just appreciated what I had, I wouldn't have needed more stuff.
Right. It's powerful how gratitude can change our perspective. We can break free from that I need more mentality.
So gratitude is key. But are there other things that can help us get off the treadmill?
Oh, absolutely. Another great one is called savoring. It's all about slowing down and really noticing the good stuff, like enjoying a meal, hanging with loved ones, even just a walk in nature.
Okay.
Really be in the moment, appreciate it fully.
I love that. Give ourselves permission to enjoy instead of rushing or checking our phones.
Exactly.
But with all this choice and comparison, what about the social side? It's one thing to set our own expectations, but what about that pressure to keep up with the Joneses?
Yeah, that keeping up with the Joneses is rough, especially now with everyone online. It's like a constant stream of perfect lives. Comparing ourselves can really steal our joy.
Yeah, it feels like everywhere you turn, someone's got a better car, a bigger house, or like a way more exotic vacation.
It's true. And, you know, the thing is, social comparison isn't always bad. In fact, sometimes it can be motivating.
Oh, really?
Yeah, seeing other people achieve stuff we admire can actually push us, you know, to work harder and go for our own goals.
So like a healthy dose of competition.
Exactly. But the problem is social media has taken this to the extreme. Now we're constantly bombarded with these perfect pictures and stories.
Right. It's all curated.
It is. It's like everyone's just showing their best moments and airbrushing out all the bad stuff.
It's like the highlight reel versus like real life.
Exactly. And we're comparing our struggles to someone else's perfect online life. No wonder we feel inadequate.
Yeah, it's a recipe for disaster. And you know what's worse is it's often subconscious.
Oh, totally.
We don't even realize we're doing it, but it still makes us feel envious and like we're not good enough.
It really chips away at your self-esteem.
So how do we escape this comparison trap? Do we all have to like ditch social media and, move to a commune or something?
Maybe, but I think there are easier ways to deal with it. One thing is to be more mindful of what we're actually looking at online.
Okay.
Instead of scrolling through stuff that makes us feel bad, why not follow accounts that inspire us or connect us with people who share our values?
It's like a social media detox.
Exactly. Out with the negative, in with the positive.
I like that. What else? What else could we do?
Another great trick is to compare ourselves to our past selves.
Oh.
So instead of looking at someone else's achievements, we can see how far we've come and celebrate that.
That's such a good point. It's so easy to get caught up in the now and forget how much we've already accomplished.
It's true. But what about those situations where you just can't avoid comparing yourself? Like at work or in social situations where everyone's judging you.
Yeah, that's tough.
That's where self-compassion is super important.
Okay.
It's about being kind to ourselves, just like we would be to a friend.
Right.
So instead of getting down on ourselves for not being perfect, we can acknowledge our hard work and accept that we're not perfect.
Give ourselves permission to be human.
Exactly, and that goes back to what we were talking about before, the good enough mindset.
Oh, yeah.
Let go of that pressure to be perfect and realize we're all on our own unique paths.
This has been so eye-opening. We've talked about so much.
We have. It's been a real journey.
From decisions to regret to gratitude and self-compassion. It's a lot to think about.
It is, but the main thing is that we have way more power over our choices than we think we do.
And by understanding, like, the psychology behind it all, we can make choices that actually reflect our values and build a good life.
Absolutely. It's all about remembering that the power to choose is in our hands.
Well said. So choose wisely, everyone, and don't overthink it.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the paradox of choice. We'll see you next time.